Hey guys, well, I'm here to give you a review of the two commercial seats which are available for the Veteran Sherman, and this is as of November 29th, 2020, as far as I know anyway. And that would be the Veteran seat, produced seat, and the seat from Zoom Wheels in the UK. And a big shout out to Brian at Zoom Wheels, which I think is the company basically. He provided me this seat. I did not pay for it. And he actually provided me two seats, and I was able to auction off the other one, not auction off, raffle it off during my 2020 tour. So big shout out to Brian. I really appreciate it. That raffle helped raise almost $2,400 for PEVRA, local organization that advocates for EUC usage in the United States. So again, thanks, Brian. And this Veteran seat was provided to me by Melody. Thanks, Melody. Appreciate it. She's a local rider, and she seems to go through a lot of seats, and so I don't think she liked this one too much. But anyway, I'm going to give you guys a quick overview of which one I think is better. It's not going to be so easy, and this will be the first part. Will be pretty quick for you impatient guys out there, and for you guys who want a little more nuanced view, stick around towards the end, the latter part of the video, and I'll give more details. All right, first is the cost. This is a clear winner in terms of cost. You can get this, and I'm in the United States, so that's my perspective on the cost for everything. So this is about $70. You can get this, get it with the wheel. So basically, shipping is should be free when you get this seat. This one in the United States to your door is going to cost you close to $200. So that's quite a substantial difference in price. Next would be durability. Well, this is like if any of you have King Song wheels or those power pads. They're kind of a popular Chinese power pads right now, generic. This is the same kind of material. It's pliable, but it's tough, and I think you can drive over this with a car, and nothing's going to happen to it. And it's yeah, so this is tough. This seat, not so much. This it's made with a fake leather, so in crashes this can definitely get ripped, and the base material is wood. So in the long run, the Veteran seat is going to hold up much better. Quality of build. Well, the Zoom Wheel seat it's a handmade product. So with that comes variability that you typically get with bespoke products. So variability in the production. No two seats are going to be alike. And then there's some potential quality control issues which can come into play with that. The Veteran seat, this is a mass-produced item. They had to create a mold. I'm not sure how they make these things, but obviously you imagine there's a mold, and then whatever material this is put in that mold, probably in a liquid form, and it's cured, and you've got this. So the first seat is going to look identical to the 5,000th seat. and this is comes across as a high quality seat. And I should say the Zoom wheels, it's a quality seat, but again, it's bespoke. So you got the variability of a handmade product there. But overall, I have to give quality winner to the Veteran seat. Riding flexibility. Here, the Zoom wheel seat wins hands down. This is a large seat, so as it sits on the Sherman, you can sit in the back of the seat, you can sit on the front of the seat, in the middle of the seat. So there's good flexibility in how you want to determine how you want to ride, and in the latter part of the video I'll talk a little bit more about that. This seat, the Veteran, it's in the back, and your butt's pretty much in the back end of the seat. And if you want to adjust how you're going to have to adjust how you ride to get more to get changing riding characteristics that you wouldn't have to necessarily do with the Zoom wheels seat. Comfort. This is the most comfortable seat, no doubt about it. Plush, got some beautiful padding in here. You can vary how you sit on the wheel when you're riding, so your tush is protected very nicely when you ride. And I've ridden for a long time in this seat, and no doubt this is the most comfortable seat you can get. And in terms of commercial seats, it might be the most comfortable seat on any EUC wheel that I've ever ridden. Commercial seat. This guy is comfortable, and if you've used any of the other seats like this from Gotway or Kingsong, you'll be right at home with this kind of a seat. So it's comfortable. It's comfortable, and I've ridden, again, many miles. I should say both these seats, I've used them for hundreds of miles. I haven't ridden them for hundreds of miles, but they've been on the wheel for hundreds of miles each. So I have a lot of practical experience with both seats, and dozens and dozens of miles I've sat on both of these seats. So this is comfortable, but nowhere near as comfortable as this guy. Practicality. In practicality, I have to say the Veteran seat wins hands down compared to the Zoom wheel seat. And it's pretty much just comes down to how both seats interfere or don't interfere with the usage of the wheel. With this seat in the back, like so, it doesn't interfere at all with the usage of the wheel. You have total access to the LCD display, the trolley handle, the front, gripping it, picking the wheel up. It just does not get in the way. This seat, on the other hand, really does get in the way of using the wheel. When you're riding seated, beautiful, but all other times when you're using the wheel, it can get in the way. So that's why I give this, for practicality, a win. So in my upfront summary here, it's really tough to say which is the better seat. If you're looking for the best seat for pure riding comfort, there's no doubt about it. This is a seat. But realistically, we're not riding seated all the time. And there's a lot of practical aspects where this seat does get in the way. I'm glad I have both seats, actually, because when I'm going for a cruise, kind of dedicated cruise, road cruise, I'm putting this guy on. I love it. But for day-to-day use or for mixed riding, this seat. And this seat is actually on the wheel. This is my baseline seat. It's pretty much on the wheel all the time. It's only specific conditions where I'll grab this seat. So for me, and this is purely subjective, of course, because I know people who prefer this seat, they prefer this seat, or they don't like either seat. So, keep that in mind. But if I, knowing what I know now, if I lost both these seats and I needed to get another seat, I'd be buying this seat. And there's no doubt cost plays a factor. If they're both much closer to price, then it would be a much tougher choice, and I'd probably buy both of them. But to spend $200 on this seat when it's, and again in the United States, it's more. This is an easier decision for you guys in the UK probably, or Europe. But for me in the United States, it's a harder sell to spend $200 on this, given the other limitations. Okay, guys, hope this was useful, and stick around if you want a more nuanced view of both these seats. All right, let's talk about the veteran seat a little bit more. As I said previously, it's a tough material. Unlike some of the other seats, particularly the Monster seat, which is a thicker seat, and it does have a tendency, at least some people have had this happen, where they split. This guy, there's very little force applied on the sides, that's where it would split, I imagine, over time. So basically, you're just sitting on this semi-hard piece of rubber up at the top. So I can't see this thing ever failing on you. So it's a really tough seat, and the wheel has fallen on me with this seat on. It hasn't gotten damaged. So for durability, you can't beat it, and you really can't beat the price. $70. Yeah, great. Let's see. Now, in terms of comfort, again, I've ridden for, I'm trying to think. Maybe one stretch I've ridden for a dozen miles, 10 plus miles at once, and it's comfortable enough. Otherwise, I wouldn't use it, So I appreciate having it. But I'm a taller guy. I'm 5'11", and I'm an older guy, so my knees are definitely not what they used to be in my youth. So, riding with your knees bent like that gets old pretty quick, and that's one of the disadvantages for sure with this seat is it's not very high, and actually the Zoom wheel seat's not really high either, but this is definitely lower, so it's a bit harder for me to sit down when I'm riding. I got to be a little more careful, and it's a bit harder on my knees and thighs and legs over time as you're riding. So that's a disadvantage. This will, you can hear I have Velcro here. If you can see it, there's Velcro here and Velcro on the top. Without the Velcro, you'll lose this seat just as quickly as the MSX, MSP, all the M Super class wheels. People who've bought their seats and didn't take advantage of my tip for using dowels to keep that seat attached to the handle. it flies off super easy. Same thing here. It's only attached to in the back with this this groove that attaches here, and it'll pop off. So do yourself a favor, you get this seat, buy some industrial strength Velcro, apply it on the top in here, and it'll never come off unless you want to take it off. For riding, since your butt is pretty much in the back of the seat, back of the wheel, it does affect your ability to go fast without putting more effort into it. Since you can't put your center of gravity higher more in the front of the wheel to go faster, basically you have to lean forward. You have to be doing more of this, which is fine, and that's personally that's what I do. So when you're just sitting more upright in the back, you're not going to be going as fast, and if you want to speed up, you definitely have to lean forward to it, lean forward into it, and you can move your butt up a little bit more to help. That's definitely one disadvantage for you speed freaks out there. You might definitely prefer the Zoom Wheels seat. For practicality, I just love this seat. As I said before, it sits on my wheel all the time. I think it looks pretty cool actually too, but it does not get in the way of the trolley handle. You can fully see the LCD display all the time. You can control the buttons. When you're actually seated, you can look down and see your speed. It doesn't get in the way when you want to pick it up to lift it. It doesn't get in the way. It's a great seat, and if you have a backpack on, and for some, I'm not sure what that use case would be right now, but you could take it off and stick it in your backpack. It's not very bulky, so it's great from that perspective. I guess that's it for the Sherman, the seat from Veteran. Only modifications I would make would be the Velcro. Other than that, great seat. All right, the Zoom Wheels seat. So it's definitely going to come across as a lot of negatives with this seat, and I'm sorry to come across that way. I don't like to be too negative. But on the outset, I do want to say, if you're looking for the most comfortable seat for seated riding, this is it. There's no doubt about it. And there is no such thing as a perfect product, and so there are negatives with this, but if you primarily want a seat for a lot of seated riding, get this seat. And so I'm definitely not advising against getting this seat. Like there are not fatal flaws with the seat. For its primary purpose of riding seated, this is a winner for sure. So I'm going to just go over my notes here, and some of which I've already talked about. Again, it's a very expensive seat, $200. It's basically the current exchange rate is about $165 to buy the seat, and then to ship it to the United States, at least in California where I am, maybe it's a little cheaper to only send it to the East Coast. It was, the last time I checked, it was $38. So, bottom line is you're talking about a $200 seat. So that's a chunk of change for a seat. Now, it's what I call bespoke manufactured product. It's handmade. I think if you go to Zoom Wheels website, I think you can see, I'm not sure if it's on that website or elsewhere, but I've seen videos where they show how they're making it. And it's handmade product. It's not even sure if they're using what I would call jigs, because I do a lot of woodworking, and it doesn't look, I'm not sure they're really even using jigs to do a lot of the manufacturing, at least at the time when I saw the video. Because so it's a wood-based seat. There's some kind of foam and probably padding on top of the foam, and then this fake leather on top. It's stapled on the bottom. There's these wooden parts which these clamps get mounted to, and they look like they're just roughly cut and sanded, hand sanded. So when you look at this, there's no way you think, oh, this is a manufactured product like an Apple product or any other commercial product. It's not. And there's variability in the manufacturing. Since this is a synthetic leather, it's not going to stand up to abuse like real leather would. So this will rip. I actually had to fix V. V got one of these seats, and she brought it out on the tour, and it wouldn't fit her Sherman. This was the front, I guess you could, front or the back. The distance was not set properly for these bars, and I compared. There was nothing wrong with V's Veteran with her Sherman. So I had to take these clamps off. I had to fill in the holes. I had to drill new holes and remount it. Doable, but should you really need to do that? Now I got to say, Brian and Zoom Wheels really totally stands behind their products, and I'm sure if V had talked to them, I have no doubt they would have sent out a new seat. So I really do think Zoom Wheels is a quality company, and they'll stand behind their products. But there is that potential for issues that you're not going to get with a molded seat like from Veteran. These clamps, they send you extra clamps. They send you three, at least again when I got it, and I got two wheels, 2 seats. There's 3 extra clamps provided per seat, and you gotta wonder how will these stand up over time. Now, if you put this on your Veteran once and rarely take it off, they'll probably maybe last forever. But you've got to take this seat on and off the Veteran a lot. And I think the reason they provide the extra ones is these stretch and loosen up over time. But then you have to ask yourself, well, if that's the case, how long are the extra 3 going to last? And why didn't they give you 6? So it's like, again, I haven't had this for years, so I don't know how it's going to really stand over time. But I'll show you how to put this on. Now, I have electrical tape wrapped around here, and it's getting kind of chewed up right now. I'll probably have to put some fresh stuff on. And the reason I have the electrical tape on is without that, this seat can slide back and forth periodically, and when it has on mine. So to put this on, you whack it. It doesn't feel comfortable doing that because you're giving a lot of force, but with that electrical tape, and it does not move. And so riding it like this, it's again super comfortable. But if I want to take it off, it's a bit of work. So let's see what else. I've crashed the Sherman with the seat on, and the seat pops off, which is a good thing, because if it didn't, I think these would just tear off the seat and it wouldn't be usable. But the one time it happened on me anyway, the seat just popped off, and I was able to put it back on, and actually didn't no rips yet on my seat. As I talked about practicality, when it's on, it's a big negative that you lose access to the LCD and the trolley handle, because this seat is not, if it were taller, then I could use it comfortably as a trolley handle, just grab the seat, but it's not. It's not too much higher than well, I guess it's about this much thicker, higher. Your butt's about this much higher off the ground versus the veteran seat. But it's not high enough to really practically trolley it around. You know, so if you want to use a trolley handle, you got to do this, which is not always as easy to do that. You know, and then you have to kind of use it like this, and it's not, you know, there's no doubt about it, it's inconvenient. You lose all access to the LCD, and if you even want to control, if you want to change the configuration on the wheel, you can't practically do that because you can't see the LCD, so you have to pop it off again. And I'm used to, I really like having the LCD on this Veteran. I kind of wish all wheels had some, you know, thorough display to let you configure everything and let you see everything about the wheel. So I love that about the Veteran, and this detracts from that. Again, I want to emphasize how comfortable this seat is. I love riding it, and if I'm going on a cruising ride in the mountains, and I'm putting the seat on because I personally love riding it. And you can, when you're riding it, you can scoot your butt in the back. But if you want to go faster, you can scoot your front butt in the front. I know guys who like to ride where they're sitting right in the front of the wheel, because that way you can go faster forward just by gently leaning like that. But personally, I feel a little uncomfortable about sitting so much forward in front of the wheel. You kind of feel like one wrong bump and boo, you're going flying off the wheel. So I don't personally feel comfortable riding like that, but I know guys who do, who like to scoot way up front, and it does provide a lot more easy controllability for your speed. So this wheel supports all of that, which is great. Interesting phenomenon, and I don't think it's not really unique to the seat per se, but it's the fact that if you have any seat where it's connecting these two bars, you get this really awkward, uncomfortable, feels very unsafe oscillation that builds up when you're riding. There's some kind of feedback mechanism that's between the firmware and the motor and the controller and the framework that it's not good. But that happens in hard mode. Just put the wheel in soft mode or medium mode and it totally goes away. It's really weird. So I actually ride in medium mode all the time, with or without this seat, and that works great. So it's just a heads up for you if you experience that with any even a homemade seat that connects these two bars together, you're going to get that oscillation. I guess again, it's awkward in terms of I know people who like to grab the front when they're riding to help control your to slow down and so forth, and grabbing the front of the seat, it's just not quite the same thing. I guess you can get used to it, but it is nice to be able to grab this front. And also, if you hang stuff off this front, potentially, obviously this seat would get in the way. And it's also kind of inconvenient when you want to pick it up, because these sit kind of protrude out. So when I'm putting this in my truck, I have to take off the seat to do that. Otherwise, it feels like it gets too much in the way. And yep, I guess that's about it for the seat. I think if they had a local distributor in the United States, I think that would help with the price probably. Probably if they sold more of them and a local distributor, at least for United States sellers, it would help them out. All right, so that's my more details about the Zoom Wheels seat. All right, guys. I hope this overview of these two seats was useful. It's a tough decision. I know if you limited with funds, you know, you only need to buy one. I gotta say, I think it's gonna be hard to go wrong with getting the veteran seat. But if you got the cash and you're looking for ultimate in comfort, and you don't mind, well, if you have the cash and ultimate comfort, you might want to just do what I'm doing and have both seats, because again, this is super comfortable for actual cruising. For when you're actually riding seated, you just can't beat this seat. But it does have a lot of does have a lot of downsides in day-to-day usage, and that's why I kind of prefer this to be the seat that I have on most of the time. So just like most of our wheels, there's no such thing as a perfect wheel, and it turns out there's no such thing as a perfect seat. And of course, I know a lot of people who are making their own seats too, because they don't want to spend any money. All right, guys, hope this was useful, and I'll see you later.